Alright, we're back and let's get to it! Look at the little bitch running.
Why is he laughing?
Because he knows this isn't over. Ready? Everybody's waiting.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that was that's even really Aerith or her memory within the live stream, or the live stream itself taking on her form or something. I don't know. It seemed to retain some of her memories.
We got him. So this is it, huh? Time to say goodbye. For now. See ya!
Was he talking to us, the player?
Aerith. Wake up.
stay here forever. We'd best get moving.
Yep. Sounds good.
I'll see you off.
Oh, I thought Kay was in standby mode. So, let me guess, she's really dead, but he's just imagining her right now?
Tifa. Come on.
I have to admit, you were quite the man. Who, me? I guess not. Anyway, you haven't seen Viceroy Saruf, have you? He failed to show at an important event. Made us look like fools.
Maybe he wouldn't have, if you'd spent some money on that set.
Ah, you're probably right. Rich kids do like things just so. Still got results, though, even without him. Resistance elements are more fired up than ever.
You know, Glenn, I'm on to you. This war's nothing but a ploy to distract me from Sephiroth.
How very astute. Regardless, the plan is already in motion. Our promised land will become reality. Our father's dream, accomplished by his son.
I want the real thing, not some imitation.
But an imitation's all you deserve. In the back, just like old times.
So it seems Sephiroth is controlling that Glenn guy, or maybe he's just like an alter ego of Sephiroth, and he's the one stirring up the resistance so that it'll occupy Shinra, and that they won't interfere with Sephiroth's plans to locate the Promised Land. That's best I can get. I might be off. I gotta look up I'll have to look in the character database about info on that Glenn guy. I can't remember exactly who he is or what his relation to Rufus is, but looks like the...
Did I? Nah. I couldn't have dreamt that. It all felt way too real. Just as worlds unite, so too do they part. But who's to say they can't unite again?
But up here, the Black Robe men are finally getting off their asses and making their way towards the Promised Land.
Can you not raise it just a wee bit higher?
Screw you, cat. How's this? Oh, shit.
Nice catch.
So, what Aerith actually do, anyway? Well? And with that, we are cleared for takeoff.
Finally.
It's not fair.
The black materia should have been mine.
Aerith? The hell? The reunion.
Hey, you coming or what?
Yeah, one sec.
Huh, I didn't know that's materia worked. You just hide it in any weapon.
You have to promise not to look up.
Don't look up.
Well, now I gotta look.
Fine, but don't let it get to you.
Don't let what get to me?
It's not real. Just an illusion. Now let's go get Sephiroth. He's hiding up north.
North.
Trust me, he is. Soldier's intuition.
Oh, yeah? Better hope you're right.
All right, fine. We trust you. Just remember, we got everything riding on this.
And that's a load you'd best be ready to carry.
No heavy loads. We're close to capacity as it is.
Not literally, Sid.
Don't worry about me. I can handle it.
Take care.
You gonna be okay getting back?
And if I said I wasn't? Don't worry. It's like a second home.
I guess. But what if something happens?
Then I'll send up smoke.
Thanks. I'll keep an eye out.
I'll put everything I've got into my prayers. I'll stop the meteor. And I'll leave the rest to you. Good luck.
Aerith. I will stop Sephiroth. Trust me.
You promise?
Promise.
Walking city streets with worn cobblestones, listening to people rushing past to rhythms all their own.
Goodbye.
Life passing me by, not thinking how the years have flown until I met you. I won't say that it was fate.
Well, there you have it.
Say that it was destiny.
There is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Of course, there might be something at the end. I'll let this play out for a while. And sorry to whoever's singing the end credits song here, but I'm gonna talk over it. In fact, I'm gonna turn up my mic volume a touch here. Okay, overall, I gotta say I really like this game. In fact, it's I would say I enjoyed it more than Remake. But I remember when I first played Remake, just how blown away and how much I was grinning just seeing one of my favorite games of all time recreated and remade. And maybe it's just because this is the second part of the remake. You don't get the, I wasn't feeling quite that initial wonderment as I was the first time around. I think that's what has to do with it. But overall, I think this game's fantastic. Everything that was directly like improved upon or taken from the original and added on to, I think they did an excellent job of exploring the world, learning more about the characters, seeing more of their interactions, the relationship develop, especially ones I hadn't expected. Tifa and Aerith, seeing their friendship grow throughout the entirety of the game. Barrett might have had the most development of all in this game with his arc. And I really liked his story in the original, but I think they did a great job improving upon this game and his relationship, and seeing him and Diane reuniting and him coming to terms with his past and moving on and whatnot, and living with his guilt and so forth. And Red 13's was really good too, although I'm still, I don't know, I don't see why they really needed to give him the young voice. They could have just kept the old voice and said, even though he's 40, it's really young for his species. And I think they could have found other ways to demonstrate his immaturity or his youth. But it's not it wasn't a huge deal, wasn't a deal breaker for me, anything like that. And Cait Sith. It's cool seeing him and how torn he was between wanting to help the group, do the right thing, but also try to balance out his duties with Shinra, and so he could stay within the company and try to change it from within. And its sacrifice was done well, I think, is what too. Although it was, like I talked about at the time, it was done a little bit differently than from the original, but changes were, pretty superfluous, not a huge deal. And although I gotta say, I think it'd been okay if Sid wasn't introduced in this game, because he was just a ferryman. That's all he really was in this game. And I know you can't compare the timelines from the original to the remake series because it's all out of whack. But at this time, Sid would be in his hometown. He would be in Rocket Town, trying to convince Shinra to restart or refund the aerospace program so he could fix his rocket and go into space. That's his dream. And I know that'll probably be a big story point in the next game. And I get that they couldn't fit it in this one, but it would have been nice to, I don't know, see a little bit of it. Maybe go to Rocket Town for the first time. Because you go there twice for story purposes in the original. You go the first time, meet Sid, learn about his history with Shinra and the failed first launch, and then afterwards, I think I gotta lower this tad since she stopped singing. So, because after that, when you go to Rocket Town the first time, is when Sid first joins the party and you get the tiny Bronco. But yeah, he's just a ferryman in this game, so other than just taking us from one place to another, he doesn't really serve too much purpose within the story. And Vincent's not much different. He's sort of a tag-along, and he doesn't even really help the party when he could have easily. He could have helped us in that final fight there, but I guess he was just kind of hanging around the pool, doing nothing. I think they could have at least made Vincent a support character like Red 13 was in Remake, the first part. Have him have some abilities, have him be able to fight, help you out, but not be a huge factor. And that would have made him seem more involved with everything that was going on, instead of him just chilling like, hey, what are y'all doing? Oh, fighting Sephiroth Reborn or whatever. That's cool, I'm just gonna chill out here. And I'm glad I'm looking at this slideshow, it reminded me of some of the events. I'm glad it showed Chadley, because I could have used a lot less Chadley in this game. I have no problem with his character per se, but not everything in the world map, in my opinion, needed to be tied to him or his research or whatnot. I think it would have been it would have felt much more natural, and the world would have felt like a much more mysterious, wonderful, wondrous place if not everything was, hey, go research that, go research this, yada yada yada, all this. Sometimes I just want to go out in a world map and explore, see what there is to see, discover things on my own, go to uncharted areas and be the first one to discover what's there. And having the summons tied to each region, I did like that, but what I didn't like was having it tie them, having to fight them within the simulator. I think, and I believe I touched on this as well on my playthrough, it would have been awesome if every summon, perhaps if you had to defeat all the special enemies, meet certain objectives, then you could challenge them and have the summons be in a special arena of, you know, that's catered to the setting or their element type or whatnot, and fight on their turf, so to speak. And instead of it just being just another option in a menu selection screen. That would have been nice. The enemies were well, not to get ahead of myself, but battle style is great. It's pretty much the same as what it was in the remake, just slightly tuned up and slightly faster, quite a bit faster actually, much faster pace. And I think that was because they wanted to compensate for the more open areas that you would be fighting in. So I think that was a smart design choice. And it took a little bit to get used to, primarily because I hadn't played the remake in a few years, or even the DLC for it, so I wasn't quite used to the speed, and so I kind of had to get used to that. And then the newer, the ticked up speed for this game. But overall, I'm pretty satisfied with it. I like it's quite a shift from Final Fantasy 16, which I did like. I really enjoyed it, but it was missing a lot of elements that make a Final Fantasy game a Final Fantasy game, in my opinion. And all of those things, this feels like these remake games feel like Final Fantasy games. And because it's a different battle style, obviously, from the original. It's not a turn-based, but it's a lot more free-flowing. It's the action, you have to input each action into it, so it feels a bit more hands-on than turn-based. Not that I'm saying that's good or, you know, better or worse or anything like that. I'm still a huge fan to this day of turn-based games. It's one of the big reasons I love RPGs, but it is what it is. I really like what they've done with the battle system in these remakes, and it's just more the same. So it's good. I like it. I also love seeing all the enemies and bosses remade, and just what a variety there were in the whole game. There were some reskins or reshadings of some enemy types, but for the most part, they were all pretty different, pretty unique from each other, and you had to change up your strategy accordingly. A lot of enemies, of course, you could just spam square attack and some ability and whatnot and take care of them pretty easily, but there are other enemies, especially bosses, where you couldn't just spam attack. You had to read their attacks and either defend, dodge, what have you, switch up characters. And one thing before I forget, the synergy abilities I really really enjoyed. I think it was a great addition to this game, and it forced me to switch characters, which at times during the first game, the remake, I'll admit, there would be long stretches where I would just stick with Cloud, and I would just use him. And I did the same thing in this game, but it was usually for battles or enemies, aforementioned, the ones that were easily taken out and just were basically just scrubs. So, really no need to switch characters, but switching them up, using different abilities, sort of reinventing your strategies, your tactics for, whatever enemy you're fighting, and then using the synergy abilities to... sometimes they would completely shift the tide of a fight for me and put things in my favor. And it's really cool how many there are too. I think there was 2 per. I didn't even get them all. Wasn't able to obtain all of the synergy abilities in the game, so I still haven't seen them all. The synergy, gosh, are they synergy attack? No, synergy skills. Excuse me. I will admit I did not use all that much. A lot of times I just sort of forgot about them, but they also have their use too, and they can help you out in a lot of situations as well. And if I ever play this game on a hard mode, I will definitely make a conscious effort to employ the synergy skills more often, because I could definitely see them really, really helping out a ton. And so yeah, combat's good. Combat's great. The world exploration, kind of touched on it. I loved what they did with the settings. They all looked fantastic, and they were what I imagine would be a reimagining of them in the past. And it's so amazing, because in the original, the world map, as blown away as I was by it back then, it's basically just, you can't really do too much in the world map. You just go from place to place. So to see all these areas get new life breathed into them, and new things to discover, new things to explore, and have them just be so different from each other, and having it feel like it's a lived-in world was great. I will say though, I would have liked it if there were more people living out in the world. Maybe not towns or cities per se, but just some sort of settlements. You saw a few of them in the grasslands. There was a farmstead and whatnot, and here and there you'd see there would be people hanging around, but I think it would have been a nice touch if you could have met more people out and have them be the ones to distribute quests, instead of it being Chadley every single time. Just have it so, hey, I lost my chocobo, can you go catch it for me? Hey, there's some enemies over here, near these properties or near this old town. Can you clear them out for us, and I'll give you a materia or something. I got the materia lying around. I think that would have made it. I don't know. It just would have made it feel a little bit more organic if you were. I prefer that sort of open world experience, as opposed to, I guess you'd call it the Ubisoft formula, even though there are a lot of other games that do this, where the things you discover on the map are basically just points on a map, and it can feel kind of tedious and like homework to go from point to point and discover things just to check them off a list or whatnot. So, but I didn't really feel like it was too much of a chore in this game. I will say, excuse me. I will say, though, it was around the time when we went from Gungaga to Cosmo Canyon, and it was two big regions back to back, and I was kind of burned out. I wanted to, at that point, I just wanted to progress with the story. Excuse me. And I did. So when I got to Cosmo Canyon, I thought to myself in between recordings, I said, I'm just going to go straight to Cosmo Canyon, the settlement, and meet Red 13, Anaki's grandfather, and go through all the trials of the Gi and all that good stuff before I get into the intel spots on the region and whatnot. So I sort of had to space myself on my own, because if I really wanted to, I could have done most everything, all the Cosmo Canyon region stuff on its own, but so I had to do some self-balancing. But I think the game itself, I think it paces itself pretty well for the most part. That was the only time in the game where I felt like, okay, this feels like a spot where the story needs to take precedence over the world map stuff. So I kind of had to make that call on my own, and that's good. Yeah, it's great when games give you that sort of freedom and whatnot. But the story, boy, oh boy, the story is what makes this... The story is what is keeping me from automatically locking this into my game of the year. And it's not because it's early in the year and there's still a lot of good games that I haven't played. Hell, there's Dragon's Dogma 2 or Rise of the Ronin I haven't played yet. And I know Stellar Blade's coming out soon, but this game, if it was more faithful to the original, this would be my favorite game of the year so far. But all of this multiverse nonsense, I'm just sick of it, to be honest. And I'm not talking just this game. I'm talking as someone who was a big fan of the MCU games or MCU movies. And now that it's just sick of them, when they started introducing all these different universes and upping the stakes to ridiculous scales, and now to see that, and I'm not going to say this for certainty, but I got a feeling those movies are so popular, I can't help but think that they inspired Square Enix to do that, to add that into this game. And the only reason I can think of why they did it is so they can involve Zack in the story. And there's no need. There is no need to do that from the original. Learning about Zack in the original is such a it is such a revelatory thing and eye-opening part of the story. When you realize, spoilers, that Cloud is living Zack's life almost in a certain way, or he's taken up some aspects of Zack's personality in order to live with the pain and the grief from Zack's death and his sacrifice. And that is such a huge character moment for Cloud, but I feel like so many character moments from the original and so many story beats from the original are just undercut with all of these parallel universes, dead people coming back to life, worlds merging. Are they dead? Are they not dead? Are they real? Was Aerith real? I'm sure she was real in the remake and Rebirth. But she dies, obviously. She's not... what you see there at the end, what you saw there, last screen, where Tiny Bronco taking off, she's in the field, in the valley, that's not Aerith. She's dead. That's a live stream representation, or projection, if you will, of Aerith. And she just seems to be appearing towards Cloud because all the rest of the party were beside themselves with grief. And especially, they were all shook up, especially Yuffie and Tifa. And, well, all of them really were like that. But, and they're a little concerned about Cloud's behavior because he's just acting like, oh yeah, everything's hunky-dory, everything, let's move on, let's keep chasing Sephiroth. And it's, they're looking kind of thinking, man, what is up with him? Does he not realize what happened? And maybe I am so... Okay, ooh. I really thought there'd be something at the end, after credits. Let's see. The adventure continues. Chapter selection and hard difficulty are now available. Access system chapter selection to replay any chapter from the beginning using your current stats, weapons, and materia. You can also adjust your quest completion status. For a real challenge, switch the chapter's difficulty to hard. While playing on this setting, items cannot be used and rest stops only recover HP. Oh, yes, I forgot about that. Yes. After completing the main scenario, play log, accessible via the system section of the main menu. The play log shows your achievements throughout the story and in battle. Gold Saucer Companion selection. When choosing Chapter 8 or 12 from Chapter Selection, you can pick any character with a close enough relationship to Cloud to accompany him in the Gold Saucer. Oh, okay, that's nice. You know what? It'd been really nice the first time around, though. I'll say that. I ended up just going with the flow with Barrett with the Barrett date, so it's no big deal. Combat Simulator updates, getting certain requirements such as completing all Proto-Relic salvaging quests will unlock unique combat challenges featuring Sephiroth and Zack. Whoa, okay. Now that is interesting. I'll have to take a look at that. Changing outfits. Chocobo ranches now have changing booths, which you can use to alter your party members' outfits. Red 13 and Kate Sith's Loveless costumes are available for purchase at the Gold Saucer's GP exchange kiosk. Ooh, does that mean we can use our beachwear anywhere we want? That'd be awesome. All right, let's take a look at the play log first here. 71 items, Johnny's treasure trove. I got quite a few of them, but there's a lot of the hard mode prizes that I haven't got. Allies with strongest bond is 0 out of 5. What? I didn't get anybody the strongest bond? Let's see. Quest completed. Oh, yeah. I didn't get to play the, what is it? Work hard, play hard quest? The one I did the first part, but it's the one you go back to Gold Saucer and you try to beat the Ultimate Party Animals high scores, which I did for the motorbike game, but it did not register. And apparently they did release a patch for it, so I'll have to go back and see if I can complete that. World Intel progress. Missing 4. I believe that's somewhere out in the ocean. I think there's Proto-Relic Intel or something out in the ocean. So, completed combat objectives and hard mode minigames. Quite a few. 12 of them. Most of them are, like I said, probably the hard mode versions. Chocobo stops repaired. I'm missing 2. I knew that because I'm missing 2 golden plumes to buy the rest of the Chocobo gear. So I'll have to look those up. Missing 9 cash points. Wow, that's quite a few. And I'm also missing 25 Queen's Blood cards. That's another thing I didn't do. I just kind of, when I starting on the final quest line, I sort of just totally forgot about it. So it's something I'll have to do later. Obviously I haven't done anything hard. Difficulty, enemy intel. Wow, almost got every enemy scanned. Only 2 of them. Probably some bosses or enemies at early game. Enemies. Oh, that's something different. I'm still missing 41 enemies, and that makes sense. Still, that's quite a few. Weapon abilities learned. Yeah, some of the final weapon abilities I did not learn. Some of the characters. Manuscripts collected. I gotta admit, I'm kind of drawing a blank. What are manuscripts? Is that those collectible info or something? Okay, whatever. I'll have to look that up. There were manuscripts in the last game, but I still don't. Sorry, I'm snapping my fingers. I think some of them might be the folios. I think that might be a few of them, but I'll have to check to see how long. Relationship with Barrett, 95%. Well, yeah, we're best buds. Conversations, almost maxed out. I wonder if that means there's a conversation I haven't had with him yet, or if I didn't pick the best response in every conversation, so I didn't get max points. Odd jobs, synergy, skills, and abilities. Skills would count towards that, and like I was talking earlier, I didn't do a lot of them. Story beats, missing some of them. Costa del Sol beach fight partner. Okay, there's beach fights. Did mostly of the mini games. Conversations. Wow, I've been missing that many conversations with her. Odd jobs missing. Did all of her synergy skills abilities I could do with her. Story beats missing. It's probably from the date. That might be the same with conversations. Yeah, did the parade. Same taste in beachwear. Costa del Sol beach fight partner. Oh, that's when you can. I think when they're split up into two groups, when Hojo's attacking, you can choose groups. I think. Skybolt Day. Yeah, I didn't get to do that. Let's see. Era's almost as high as Tifa, but I'm still missing some odd jobs and conversations and story beats. Yeah, actually, you can challenge Red to a rematch in Queen's Blood, and he's tough. I actually tried a couple times, and he beat me both times. So I'll have to go back. I'm sure I can get him, but yeah, didn't do all the synergy abilities, skills, and abilities with him either. Skybolt Date, obviously. Relationship with Yuffie, did all her odd jobs. I want to know what odd jobs these two have left. Missing quite a few story beats with her too. Corel, Minecraft, Root, and Score. Oh yeah, I picked Barrett's Root the first time around, didn't I? So I missed out on some points with her. Skywheel Date. Interesting. Well, I'm glad we have access to this information. It's good to know. I will have to go online and read exactly what is... It's got to be the conversation. It's got to be the dialogue choices. I probably didn't pick the ones that give me the most points. I think that's what that is. But odd jobs and story beats... Odd jobs, I would assume, were the side quests that involved certain partners, certain party members. And I thought I did all of those with both, that involved both Tifa and Aerith, unless the party animal one, because that's the only quest I haven't completed. Oh, you know what? Yeah, okay, perfectly executed odd jobs. That's right, there were some jobs where you can make a choice, and maybe I didn't make the best choice on those, so that might be what that's about. Oh wow, you can adjust this. Tactical mode slowdown. Yeah, I like it being super slow. Keep that on. Materials auto collection. Toggle the ability to automatically collect transmutation materials upon approach them. Yeah, I'm going to turn that on. Yeah. Skip Zach's story. Oh, jeez. Toggle whether to automatically skip Zach's portion of the story. I'll probably be turning that on later. Do that another time. Chapter 8 Companion. Select who will accompany you in the Gold Saucer during Chapter 8. You can manually change that, because I believe there might be... There's not a specific trophy tied to each partner, but you do need to take every single one of them on a date in order to get a collectible for Johnny's beach house. So... Date event conclusion. Okay, there's an intimate and a standard conclusion. Play this intimate ending of the scene. Only available when Cloud and his comrades share a strong bond. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Now, I'm sure that definitely applies to both Tifa and Aerith. Maybe Yuffie? Not sure. I'll have to play around with that later on. And finally, chapter selection. Replaying a portion of the game via chapter selection will return you to the start of the chosen chapter. Your current character's levels, weapons, materia, and relationship status will carry over. You can also choose how to carry over your quest data. Note that any odd jobs you have yet to complete will automatically reset. When you select a chapter, you'll be given the option to play on a hard difficulty. Be warned that you cannot change the setting once you begin the chapter. Okay. Oh, that's right. Yes. Yes. There are certain manuscripts you can only get in hard difficulty. That's the same as it was in the in Remake. Select a quest progression reset option. Retain current quest completion data. All completed quest data for your current playthrough will carry over, allowing you to polish off any unresolved odd jobs. Note that you will need to restart all unfinished quests. Restore previously completed quest data. Previously completed quest data from any prior playthrough will carry over, allowing you to polish off unresolved odd jobs. Note that we need to restart all unfinished quests. And reset all quest data. Reset all quest data. Allow you to replay every odd job from the beginning. This will not overwrite your save data's quest completion status. Okay, so if I want to maybe have the best choices or make the best choices for those odd jobs, I would have to reset all the quest data, I believe, at least for those specific chapters that those odd jobs take place in. So... please. I'm sorry. I'm being a dummy here. I'm trying to figure out the difference between these two because it seems like, but for both of them, your quest data carries over. Okay. This is for your current one. This is for any of the quest data you've played from any of your playthroughs. I get it now. All right. Yeah. Sorry, that took me a second there. Okay. Yeah, I'll have to look up what the manuscripts are and where they are as well. Oh, it says, the chocobos will not be available until you wrangle them. Okay, cool. Now, if I back out of here... Oh, you cannot leave the main menu this time. You can now replay any chapter from the beginning by accessing chapter selection via the main menu. Be advised that if you turn to the main title screen without first saving your game data, you'll be unable to use this data in subsequent playthroughs. Okay, so I better save it then. And I'm just going to make a whole new slot. And look at that. The title card's got the banner's a nice solid blue color to indicate that it is a completed save data. And right around, well, I've been talking and messing around the menus, but playtime's practically 127 hours, 10 minutes, and 40 seconds. So, but I would say I'm just thinking back. There were times where I'd leave it on and go somewhere. Although, thankfully, this game does stop the timer when you're not actively playing it. So that helped a lot from keeping the total playtime really bloated. But I would say probably, shave off at least 2 or 3 hours of that. So somewhere around 124, 125 of actual playtime. And not all of that was spent in the playthrough. I did do a lot of combat simulations and mini games on my own. Nothing too important. I didn't want y'all to miss the big stuff. But I guess for now, I just sit here and just go back to my feelings about talk about the story. But first, I gotta take a sip of water. So the story. I'm trying to remember where I left off. The multiverse stuff. Yeah, not a fan. Not a fan. I wasn't a fan of the whispers in the first game and how they are trying to keep certain events, the story, on a certain path, and you defeat them in the end, and you're defying fate, and you're on your own. But apparently, according to Sephiroth, that is what caused the rift or the split in timelines. And they all seem to exist within the planet, or at least maybe within the life stream. Perhaps the life stream it's sort of like a storage bank where it's keeping memories of all these different worlds. And there was some of that, not the multiverse stuff, but in the original, it was clear that the live stream, certain memories, mainly the people that, you know, that died and passed on and returned to the planet, their memories were still there. But also, if a living person fell out of a live stream, they could also, the live stream would also have access to their memories, and they would be able to sift through them, which is what you do with Cloud and Tifa, as Tifa's going through Cloud's memories and piecing them all together and finding out the truth and whatnot. But I just don't. And also, another thing that was kind of in the original, that is, they kind of make obvious in the ending credit, the end last moments there in this game, is that Aerith does return on a live stream, and she does help fight off Meteor and defeat Sephiroth through her prayers and whatnot. But I don't know how I don't really like how I guess she's just going to be another ghost. She's just going to be someone only Clouds can see, and she's kind of guiding him along. And I would have because in that whole final fight sequence there, that just took away any sort of gravitas Aerith's death had from the original. Because Aerith's death in the original is something, maybe this sounds dramatic, but as a video game fan, as a lifetime video game fan, and a huge fan of Final Fantasy, I will never forget that moment. It is one of the most poignant moments of any video game, any piece of media that I have ever watched, ever played, what have you. And a reason why it sticks out so much and it is so impactful is because it is so sudden and it happens so quickly. It is literally, it is a brutal example of the severity and quickness of death and how it can just happen in a flash, and you can't, before you blink, it's done. The deed is done. She's gone. But all of this cutting in and out of different worlds and memories overlapping and timelines overlapping and what's real, what's not. Aerith's there, but she's not really Aerith. She's just like the live stream putting on Aerith's skin, and you get one last fight with Sephiroth. And that's another thing. I'm kind of closing on the last minute here, but one thing that I really, really hate, or that has caused me to hate this remake series, is when you take a single, cohesive, and amazing story like the original Final Fantasy VII, and you fragment it and you split it up into multiple parts. This being 3, it happened in Harry Potter and the parts 1 and 2. It's happening in so many TV shows that like to split their seasons. It just doesn't work. There's a lot of they have to put in tons of filler, and it undercuts and undermines all of these big story moments, and it makes them cheaper and not as memorable. I'm not going to remember this. I mean, I will remember this moment, but doesn't come even close to the original as far as Aerith's death and a lot of the big story moments, because you got these stupid Dementors flying everywhere and whatnot. But oh my goodness, I'm running out of time. I got like 15 seconds here before time's up. But anyway, those are my final thoughts. I got a lot more to talk about. I may make a video about this on my channel, but until then, thanks for sticking around the whole way. Hope to see you in the next one. Don't know what it'll be, but I'll let you know soon. Take care.